Hi, and welcome to the Secure the podcast. And for all of the listeners out there, I really do appreciate you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, share, repost, all the good things. And if you enjoyed the podcast today, please make sure to share with a woman that is in your life who might need to hear it. All right, well, let's get into it, you guys. So today we'll be focusing on why budgeting fails and what actually works. So, with the holidays quickly approaching on us, and I know we've all been out there spending money that 9 times out of 10 you do not have, and you probably wasn't putting in your budget. But hey, whatever. For going into the new year, we're going to look into some budgeting habits that could help us move forward. What that means is let's figure out what is tied to our budgeting, and we're going to talk about emotional spending habits or emotional money habits, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to talk about it here today. So before you try another crazy budget that might not work for you, let's sit down and actually focus on what is driving that budget, what is driving those spending habits so that you can actually make them better with the new year. So, with that being said, here are 10 things nobody tells you about money habits, especially when you are a single parent or when you're a budding entrepreneur or even when you're just in survival mode. You can swipe out here, but that's what I'm here to help you with. And yes, I do have my little handy dandy no cards. So, yes, it helps keep me on track because my anxiety be kicking my behind. But I'm still gonna be here to drop some gems for y'all. So coming in hot at number one, a budget won't fix impulsive spending. Habits will. What that means is no, you don't need to create another budget. No, you don't need to sit down and look at more things that you were thinking about trying to take out or trying to put in. First, let's focus on what's driving your budget. Sometimes it's simply just you needing to create friction between your emotions and your money. It's real simple. Your emotions can drive your actual money habits, meaning that you could be shopping based on stress, based on boredom. Some people they get hurt, and hey, retail therapy is a thing. You want to shop because you're sad. You want to shop because you're happy. You just want to shop just because. And sometimes that may not always be the best idea. But it's okay for you to go ahead and discover what is actually driving that. Once you discover what's driving it, you can actually get your spending habits under control so that you can build better habits in the long run so that you're not spending frivolously. That's who needs that? And second, okay, consistency beats income. This one is a favorite of mine because out of all of my friends, yes, every single one of them, I actually may I if I'm not mistaken, I make the least. Crazy, right? But I do a lot. And on top of that, I have kids. So you would think like, hey, I'm gonna spend the least amount, or at least I don't have as much saved up, even though out of all of us, no, I'm the one who has a nice, hefty emergency fund. And I also have really good investment accounts. When I was out of job, or I'm sorry, when I was out of work for the last couple of months, I still had a nice pad to fall back on. I didn't have to go and ask people for money or constantly try to figure out, like, oh, how am I going to pay the next bill every single time another bill came up? Did I stress or did I worry about things? Yes, because I, me personally, I am a worrier. I'm just one of those people. I get anxious. And when I do these things, I have to remind myself, okay, calm down. You're worrying for no reason. You have something to fall back on. It's okay. It can be peaceful. Just chill out. But yes, out of all of us, yeah, I would be the one to have that extra amount. Why? Because I'm the budgeter. I'm the one who constantly looks at my funds and sees, okay, can I make that happen? Do I want to make that happen? Is the real question. Nah, I'm good. got other things I need to be doing. I have other things that I want to think about in the future. And frankly, going out is not what I want to do. It's just not. Um, but predictable habits are always going to beat high paychecks. It does not matter whether this person on this end is making 40,000 a year, this person on this end is making 100,000 a year. At the end of the day, if the person over here making 40,000 a year is the one that is budgeting and actually watching every single penny that comes out of their pocket because they know, hey, my money has to work for me, then it's really a no-brainer. Just because you have more money doesn't mean that you should be spending more money. There is a way for you to go ahead and put that money up and make it work for you. Turn that money into more money. It's not rocket science. It's really not. Right. And number three, your biggest financial leaks aren't bills. It's micro spending. Hmm. Hmm. I bet you weren't expecting that one, but it is. So what that means is when you think about it, that little $7 on that nice little cute shirt that you might have seen, or that little deal you got over at Starbucks, that's $12 and a little coffee. Yeah. Those little coffee runs, those little, oh, these earrings are so cute shopping sprees where you just think, okay, well, I'll just get this because it's $3. I'll go grab me a little $10 lunch. And then I still have to put $15 in my table. It's pretty low, right? Sweetheart, that all adds up. By the time you actually sit down and recognize what you've done, you've spent hundreds of dollars in just a matter of a couple of weeks. Yeah. And you're thinking, oh, no, it's my car note or it's my rent. You're thinking it's your big bills that are taking such a huge chunk when in reality, you know that big bill is coming. You know it's going to come out. Like mentally, you're prepared for the big bill, but you're not prepared for the micro spending. I mean, who really is if you're not paying attention to what you're actually spending? That I deserve this spending. Of course, you deserve the world. I truly believe that. However, that doesn't mean that you should get those cute little heels because, oh, it's just $30. $30 right now is $30 that you could have used in the future. Give it some time. Think about the purchase. Make sure that it's something that you actually want to buy. Because sometimes you may think, oh, well, yeah, this is a really cute purchase, a really cheap purchase. I really like this. And then a month later, that pair of shoes you bought, you no longer wear. That drink that you got, eh, it was iffy at best. It wasn't the greatest. You could have gotten something better. But hey, we're here now. So just remember those micro leaks, try to limit them. Try to limit that micro spending because how is it really going to help you in the long run if you're not paying attention to the money that you're just pouring away? All right, number four, emergency funds aren't for emergencies. They're for peace. Say it with me. They're for peace because they are. I just told you I have a hefty emergency fund. And yes, I hate so much when I have to fall back on it. But I love the fact that it's there. Why? Because it's helpful. It helps me not have to panic. Even though me personally, I'm probably going to do that anyway. But at the end of the day, I can talk myself down off that ledge because I understand that emergency fund is there so that I don't really need to panic. I don't have to go and borrow from my mom and dad, even though they are there to help me. I don't want to borrow from them. I also don't have to go and borrow from a bank. I don't have to go ahead and take my credit cards over limit. I can simply borrow from myself. I can borrow from an investment account that I put aside for my emergency fund and be perfectly fine. Again, I was out of work for almost 2 months. And did I have to borrow from any of my family members or reach out to my friends and take a loan out? Absolutely not. borrowed from myself. And now that I've gotten back on my feet, I'm going to pay my money back to myself. It's real simple. Like, you create an emergency fund to create peace for yourself. That is the goal. The goal is to not stress as much. Anything that you can take off your plate, take it off. Don't make it hard. Peaceful, baby. And plus, it helps get you out of survival mode. Okay. It's nothing worse than having to go ahead and move in survival mode all the time. It gets tiring. And honestly, who wants to do that all their life? I personally, I know I don't. So, hey, to each his own. But remember, peace is a financial asset. A financial asset. Don't underestimate it. Number five, budgeting is emotional before it's mathematical. And what I mean by a budget is emotional before it's mathematical is that if your budget makes you feel deprived, you'll sabotage it. It really doesn't matter what you have in your budget, what you're trying to do, what goal you're trying to reach. It doesn't matter. If it makes you feel like you're losing out on something mentally, you're going to find a way to sabotage it. It happens every single time. If you never fails. But a good budget, if you create a good budget, can always make you feel joy, rest. Just give yourself grace, right? Put that in the budget. Put something in the budget that makes you feel good. If that means that you got a budget to every month you want to go ahead and get pedicures, put that in your budget. If you feel like that can actually be budgeted, put it in there. If it's just $30, 40, $50, yes, micro spending is bad. However, putting something in the budget that can actually make you feel good about that budget, you'll actually do more to protect it. It cuts down on just feeling like it's a responsibility because, oh, I'm an adult. I have to have a budget in place. I have to do this and make sure I'm taking care of everything that I need to take care of. Don't make it feel like a responsibility. Make it feel like just this wonderful thing that, hey, I'm doing this for a better future for myself, for my kids, for my family, for my partner. Just whatever makes you feel good. Put that in your budget. Make sure to budget around at least one or two things that you truly want that are healthy for you. A pedicure, that's self care. Buying a good book here and there, again, self care and also feeds into your knowledge. Knowledge is power. Always remember that. And plus, a sustainable budget respects real life. So don't try to create something that you know that you're not going to go ahead and stick to. You want to put something in your budget that will actually be helpful for you. Number six, being good with money often means saying no to your future self. Yes, I know that sounds a little odd. It does. It sounds a little odd. But most overspending is borrowed from the future. So if you're spending a crap ton of money on something that you know you probably shouldn't have spent money on, it wasn't in the budget that you had already created, and yet here you are turning around. Oh, well, I said I was going to spend 50, but I turned around. I ended up spending about $70 on this cute little pair of boots, or oh, I ended up spending about $70 on this little thing I got for my car. Okay, but you said that your budget was only about 40 or 50. So now you're taking from you. You're taking from you. You're taking from what you already have set aside for your future. And every I'll figure it out later, it just creates stress. It's going to create debt and it creates burnout for you later. So while you may be thinking, well, it's a future problem. It's not a problem of mine. It's like I'll deal with that later. Trust me. You don't want to deal with it later. Later is going to come at some point, and when it does, what do you do then? You're just gonna keep pushing it off because it's not gonna help. Future you is always the one paying the bill, and honestly, who wants that? If you want to build a sustainable future for yourself, don't put yourself in that predicament. Number seven, credit cards do not ruin people. They do not ruin people. Okay. Lack of strategy ruins people, not credit cards. I personally was raised to think that credit cards were bad. There was just this stigma around them. Like, no, we don't do credit cards because credit cards are only going to create bad credit. That's not true. A lot of things can create bad credit, and credit cards are a tool. Like, if you use them with intention and you know exactly what you're trying to get out of them, they can actually be good for you. If you don't use them with intention, it's a trap you're already setting for yourself. It's real simple. And honestly, if you use them with rules, meaning put rules on yourself, make sure you stay within the limits and use your credit with purpose. If you do so, then you can build credit and flexibility. You have that nice cushion right there with your credit cards to actually utilize when you need them the most. Not when, oh, well, I really want this pretty dress and it's like $400, but I don't have funds to pay it, but my credit card does. It's not using it with intention. It's not going on a trip that you know you can't afford, but putting it all on your credit cards and then turning around and never paying it back. It's not, it's not using it with intention. Remember that. But remember, the problem isn't credit. It's just unplanned use. Like, and don't use it unless you actually have to. When you do, keep it under 30% utilization. We'll get into that later. And also, let's see. Number 8, you don't need motivation, you need systems. And I know that sounds super crazy. Like, why should I motivate myself? Because motivation fades. Think about it. You're going to start the new year and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym more. And then you don't go to the gym after a couple months. Yeah. Yeah. Motivation fades. But the systems that you put in place to make sure that you keep track of your budget and you stay and stick to it, those last. Because you're constantly going to be able to look at that. You're constantly going to be able to see what's doing it and coming out. Automatic transfers, separate accounts, scheduled check ins. These remove decision fatigue. You don't have to make decisions all the time. They cut them out of your thought process if you can. A system in place to help you with your budget will always be incredibly helpful and it's going to protect you when life gets chaotic. And who doesn't want that? Number 9. Uh oh, I wrote number 9 on the back. Sorry. But number 9, budgeting while broke is harder than budgeting while stable. And that matters. Wanna know why? Honestly, when you're budgeting while you're broke, decisions become harder because at the end of the day, you are basically shaming yourself for failing so called budgets that you had put in place during survival sessions, which is why the decisions are always harder when you're trying to budget in a period while you're broke. It's gonna be tough. It can be done. You just have to have a little more resolve. But if you put a budget in place while you're actually stable and put contingencies in place for if you ever have to deal with the period of being broke, or if you ever have to deal with the period of going into survival mode, the decisions they can make themselves. You don't have to constantly have that weighing you down. It's not something that's hurting you. It's something that's helping. And honestly, the goal isn't perfection. It's really Barbarian coming in at number 10, spending like there's no tomorrow is usually a trauma response. Yeah, I know it seems a little odd, but yes, people don't talk about this enough because for many, spending is about control, comfort, feeling safe, and even feeling worthy. Until that's acknowledged, honestly, financial habits won't stick. I know me personally, my spending is normally about my control or my stability and feeling safe. Knowing these things actually help me keep my habits under control and know exactly what I'm going to spend, why I'm going to spend it, and when I need to take a step back and think, hey, do I need to actually spend this, or is this just something that I'm doing in response to something that I've been through? So that's me The real truth about budgeting is it's really not about money. It's about protecting yourself, protecting your peace, and protecting your future, especially when you have to do life the hard way. And yeah, I'm here for you always. And remember, if this episode resonated with you, or if you feel like it might resonate with anyone else, go ahead and shoot them over the podcast. Let them, let them listen to it. Also, as a nice little tidbit, I do have a pre budget reset guide. It's going to be shown right in the show notes or right in the bio if you just click on the link. Okay. Thanks so much for visiting. Bye, loves. See you next week on the Secure Hustle podcast.